Rwanda.
Episode 23, part 2 of Kenya's premier sports video podcast, the Three Quarters Podcast. Today being the 7th of May 2017, we are shooting from the confines of Kilimani, and we want to thank our hosts for giving us this opportunity to shoot episode 23, which will be dropping in the course of the week throughout all our platforms. As always, in the beginning, we want to thank our fans, our viewers, our subscribers, our followers for taking a time to watch an episode of the Three Quarters Podcast. We don't take it for granted that you spare about 30 minutes a week to watch an episode of the Three Quarters Podcast. And on behalf of the Three Quarters Podcast, all we can say ni asanteni na shukran. With every passing day, the Rugby World Cup in Japan in 2019 draws closer. As a matter of fact, on 10th May 2017, they're going to be conducting the draw for the pools for the Rugby World Cup in Japan in 2019 in Kyoto, Japan. It is as a result of this that we've created the Road to Japan hashtag to sensitize people and to garner support for the Kenya Simbas as they're about to start their World Cup qualifiers come the international season. They start with a game against Uganda, then go on to play Senegal and Tunisia in Kenya. They then travel to Zimbabwe to take on Zimbabwe and finish up with a game against Namibia in Windhoek. Therefore, jump onto the Road to Japan hashtag to support these boys, because these boys are indeed the superstars of rugby in Kenya. This is Nyashi, official noisemaker.
Jerengus, Kenyana.
And we get into part 2 of 3QP, Three Quarters Podcast. Badman of the Week, Goose. After watching yesterday's game, who do you think was the Badman of the Week?
Yeah, a couple of contenders. Yeah, especially Charles Kanye Akaranga. Yeah, as much as age has caught up. Yeah, he was quite brilliant.
Yeah,
so he's goose stepping in the works.
Yeah.
But my Badman would go to one man, Biko Adema. Yeah. Playing at 10, it was quite brilliant. Plus above a lot of players, Jana. Because his kicking was quite brilliant. I think even had apart from the conversion that hit the post, he had 100% kicking.
Nearly 100%.
Nearly 100. Apart from that, when you remove that, you could see him controlling the backs quite brilliant. And his defense was excellent.
As always, because defense has always been good.
And he was getting into rackings and. He was in the mauling, even mauling at times.
Yeah.
And I think you can see why he's got the call up Kidogo.
To the Simbas. It's been a joy this season watching Biko come back into the 15 setup.
So much.
I think this is the first season in maybe 10 years that he's played more than 3 games for Kenya Cup. The Kenya for non-dis rather. And it's been a joy watching him, and I do agree with you that yesterday he was actually the person who dictated the game. Controlled the game, and the results were largely as a result of what he did on the pitch. So I do agree with you, Badman of the Week, Big Wadema. Takes us to our next session
later.
Rugby 101, where we try to educate our viewers and our followers about the game of rugby, be it lingo, be it rules, everything that surrounds the game of rugby. We want to demystify so that it's easy for you when you go to the rugby clubs to understand what people are talking about. So today we are still on the section of infringements, and today we're going to be talking about the charge down. So charge down basically is when, and you normally see it either when the opposing or the team that has the ball is kicking either for territory most of the time, whether it's box kicking or just kicking for territory. So what the opposing players normally do is close down. It's a defensive tactic. Close down on the kicking player and have your hands out, so that when you kick the ball, you as a person looking for territory, I'll just smack it down, and therefore the ball becomes open for anyone to get onto it. It's a way of regaining possession from the defending side. So the charge down infringement, infringement related to the charge down is what they call the open boot. Hands must always be forward. You cannot go in with your feet. If you go in with your feet, the referee will call for a full penalty in favor of the side that has the ball when they are kicking. It's also wise to note that the charge down is the only time that in rugby, by the way, that the ball can hit your hands and move forward.
And it won't be a knock-on.
And it won't be a knock-on or a forward pass. This is the only time that that can happen in the game of rugby. So that has been our Rugby 101 topic for today. Charge down. Takes us to next topic, the Uganda Cranes in the country. Not too many people actually know about it. They were playing Cabras in Kakamega, and they drew 15-15. And actually, it's good to know that Wokorach was on the score sheet for Uganda.
For Uganda, not Cabras.
Not Cabras. It hasn't happened so much in recent past. So what's your thinking about just Uganda having a game with Cabras, because they have had 2 games this week? What's your thinking about it?
And it was it's Uganda who requested for the match.
Exactly, it was the initiative.
The initiative to try and maybe up their game. But it was a good showing that they drew with Cabras.
For Kenya in general.
The Kenya in general. So come Elgon Cup. I think you can fix them a good one. It's a good showing at least. You can see that for the East Africa, let me put it that way. How easy that our clubs can be ranked that high to face other national teams. That's a good showing for Kenya.
That's good. And it's also good to note that World Rugby has given Elgon Cup game test match status. Elgon Cup. So I think also World Rugby recognizes the importance of this game that happens between Kenya and Uganda. So therefore, I don't think the Simbas have the luxury of losing this game, because that means that they drop in terms of rankings. Which takes us to our next topic, the Kenya Simbas. They're traveling to South Africa for camp this coming Friday. Now, there's a lot of talk happening about the mood in the 15th camp. It's not too positive. There have been a lot of shenanigans that we've always talked about on the 3 Quarters podcast happening behind the scenes. And you get the feeling that the players are not really settled. And there's a big game coming. I mean, there are big games coming for the World Cup qualifiers. First, let's talk about this traveling for camp. What's your thought about it?
Wow. First of all, I think these things should have happened a bit earlier. Should have been doing all this. Okay, let's say if the camp was set for South Africa. This should have happened a bit much earlier. Instead of having it now, this will be the 12th of May when they'll be traveling, and the first match against Germany is 27th. And they'll be there for 10 days. They'll come back here for 5 days and the matches are already there. The chemistry, you should build that chemistry from way back. When you start trying patching things now, it doesn't make any sense. It's a lack of being prepared. And I'm really crossing my fingers that it doesn't show up. And it doesn't show in the game. I can only hope that these boys put in the enough work with the short time that they've been given.
And it's good to say that. I mean, taking into account the number of senior players who've been dropped, or the players who've been in the system for a very long time, we don't want to discuss what they're dropping because we've talked about it before. But now you're bringing in guys into the setup who are new to this whole 15th thing. They have to go for camp. They're going for camp very late. Come on, man. It's not right.
And some of the senior players are missing. Okay, now Muketsa could do contract with Sevens. Won't be traveling. We had that Kopondo as well. He's not traveling. And Mangeni as well. They're not traveling.
Anyway, we can only wish the best to the from the 3 Quarters podcast to the Kenya Simbas. We can only wish you the best as you prepare for what's going to be a very grueling international season. Takes us to our next segment where it's about the Simba Focus. Just quickly mention to me which is your ideal tight 5 combination that you'd like to see start for Kenya.
Ideally, with the team that has been named.
With the team that has been named, not out of anywhere.
I'd have Amsala, Kambili, and also if Asin would play as a prop would be nice. Then Olishe, Oliver Mangeni, brother, also known as Olishe, and Kopondo.
I think I'd take Amsala, Ikambili, and Dennis Karani front row. Then I'd put Kopondo as my ball carrier and Oliver Mangeni as my line-out guy. But anyway, that's we'll be talking about Simba Focus, and we'll be talking about the squad within that should be named for the qualifiers this coming international season. Takes us to our next segment, Super Rugby results, Week 11 results. I'll go through them real quick. We have the Hurricanes beating the Stormers 41-22. We had the Cheetahs losing to the Highlanders in a very entertaining game, 41-45. We had the Rebels lose heavily to the Lions, 10-47. We had the Chiefs beat the Reds, 46-17. We had the Waratahs lose to the Blues, 33-40. We had the Sharks beat the Western Force, 37-12. We had someone's team lose to the Crusaders, 64-24 at home, I must add. The Blue Bulls losing to the Crusaders. And we had the Jaguars of the Jaguares beating Sunwolves 46-39 early this morning on the 7th of May 2017. As always, we tell you guys that we have the Fantasy Super Rugby Fantasy League running, and the code and the URL should be running at the bottom of your screen right now. Make a point of joining the Fantasy League, and let's see if this kelele can actually be translated into points, while you're just guys of making noise on the sidelines. That has been episode 23, part 2 of the 3 Quarters podcast. We thank you guys for subscribing to our YouTube channel, for liking our Facebook page, and for following us on Instagram. We do not take it for granted. Thank you very much on behalf of the shoot of the 3 Quarters podcast. This is Ngashi, official noisemaker.
Cheering Goose, Kenyana.
Episode 23, part 3 coming to you soon. Keep it live, keep it locked. Cheers.